Welcome, welcome again, sisters, to Return of the Priestess. Thank you for being here. This is DelVecchio, your host and facilitating priestess for the series. And we have a journey of sacred feminine energies today. And before I get into sharing our beautiful speaker for today and the magical process she has for us a bit later on in this call, let us begin by grounding and centering. So if it's safe to do so, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And I invite you to place one hand on your womb space, one hand over your heart. And let's just breathe together, taking in a nice deep breath, giving yourself this moment to come fully home into yourself, your center. Feeling the expansiveness of the breath and exhaling to deeply settle into yourself, gently presencing with you. And again, breathing in nice and deep in the honor and the recognition of this global sister gathering, thousands of us around the world right now in this sacred priestess space. And exhaling, giving yourself permission to fully receive the transmissions, the activations available to you here now. And one more breath in, feeling your essence deeply. And exhaling to release what does not serve, feeling fully present now. And you can open your eyes. And we do have a journey today to our sacred feminine essence. It is a pleasure to introduce you to Emmy Motale, who is a healer, a wisdom keeper, and a womb shamana. Emmy is dedicated to the rise of the divine feminine, and she takes women on journeys of healing and transformation to provide them with safe and sacred spaces for their emergence, their radiance, their wisdom and ancient knowing to come forth in these times. Emmy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute blessing to be part of this.
It's a joy to have you here. And you are coming to us from where?
I'm based in Lusaka in Zambia.
Zambia, Africa. Great. So
Yes.
it's amazing what we can do. I'm speaking with women in 6 of the 7 continents during this series. So
Wow.
thank you for being here. Okay, so I like to begin by inviting each speaker to tell us a little bit about their journey. So if you would, please tell us about your unique priestess path, how this unfolded for you in your life as a healer and a womb shamana.
Thank you. Well, I have always, for as long as I can remember, been drawn to the healing arts. Even as a small kid, I was intrigued about shamanic practices and indigenous cultures, and got into meditation and breath work and quite a bit of healing work already in my late teens and early 20s. At the same time, though, I was also very drawn to building a career in development aid. And I was passionate about women's rights and child rights and human rights overall. So I embarked on studying about anthropology and human rights, and then went on to eventually also work in Africa, which was always my dream continent to travel in and work in. However, as I started building my career, I got so engrossed and focused on that career path that I kind of pushed my spiritual life and spiritual path on the side, and was really kind of swept away with the rather hectic world of doing and achieving results and meeting targets, and led my life from a very masculine energy, from a very masculine perspective for quite some time. I was excelling at work and I was loving what I was doing, working with women especially, and supporting rural communities in Africa. However, I was taking on more and more responsibilities, more and more roles that took me further along in my career. At the same time, I'd fallen in love and started a family. And by this time, I had 2 kids who were both under 2 years old. So you can imagine the scenario, a mother of 2 small children, still working full time, very passionate, very ambitious about her career. And I ended up pushing away, hiding away my emotions, pushing through tiredness, pushing through fatigue, pushing through the aches and the pains that my body was starting to manifest at that point, and push through my moon time, no matter how I was feeling, in which part of my cycle, and really just kind of got lost in that vicious cycle of wanting to achieve more, wanting to do more, wanting to rise higher in the career ladder as well. And I realized that after a while, I started to really started to near burnout. I started to feel more and more tired. I started to snap at my kids very easily. I was picking fights with my husband, until it got so bad that one day I found myself sitting in a heap on the bathroom floor. I yelled at my kids. I chased my husband out of the room, and I was literally looking for a way out, a permanent way out at that point. It had gotten that bad. And as I was there on the bathroom floor, whilst feeling in this really dark, desperate space, at the same time, there was also this fluttering or a sliver of hope that I felt deep, deep inside me. And I knew in that moment, although I didn't know how, that I was going to be okay. I was going to get better, and I was going to get through this burnout and this depression that I was really going through at the time. And from that moment onwards, I started to somehow remember my spiritual way, my spiritual path, and slowly started to engage more and more in the healing practices that I'd already learned. And I started studying new healing practices and modalities as well. And that path then took me to the point where my own cup was overflowing and I was able to start giving to others. So I started providing healings to other people, predominantly women already then, but to people who approached me, people who felt like they needed some kind of support in their lives. And it was once I made the commitment, a conscious commitment, to fully step onto this healing path and to really dedicate myself to the sacred feminine, which had come along on this healing path a few years ago through a few quite intriguing experiences that I can maybe share a little bit later on. And yes, once I dedicated myself fully to this path of the sacred feminine, that's when women started coming to me from all over the world. And the channel or the portal to Mother Mary as a guide, as a beautiful energy who's been with me strongly ever since, guiding me and supporting me and holding me, and who's really quite a big part of my journey at the moment. So it was that full commitment to the sacred feminine path that then opened the doors and the portals to this collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I really deeply feel your story is going to resonate with many women. And it's an interesting irony too, because your passion was helping women, and yet the model was so masculine, as it is on our planet, this model to drive, to build the career and to do so much in such a window of time that it ends up burning us out. I have in my own way, different circumstances, but a similar story of like forgetting the spiritual feminine part of me to drive until the point where basically I had to surrender completely. So I know there are many others in corporate who feel this too, especially moms
Yeah.
who, yeah, when we know we wanted to be a mom and then all of a sudden we're snapping at our kids. Now, wait a minute. This is
Yes.
not it. And I really appreciate what you're saying about the conscious commitment. Again, I resonate and I feel others will too. That moment where we just drop in and just say, right, this is, I'm not just going to dabble in something else and keep trying to sustain what's unsustainable. I commit myself to
Mm.
my healing path, to my feminine ways. So beautiful. Thank you. So this is a great sort of segue really into my next question for you, which is from your knowing in your work with Mother Mary and your work with the Sacred Feminine, why do you see the rise of the feminine as so important at this time?
Mm. Well, it is absolutely perhaps the most important thing at the moment in the current context that we live in. All we have to do is look at what is happening on Mother Earth at present times. We all the wars, all the natural disasters, so-called natural disasters, a lot of which are in the end human-made, and the ways that we have in terms of leading, the leadership that we've been exposed to for the past hundreds, if not thousands of years, has been a very masculine one, has been one that is based on logic and rationality, and again, that achieving of results and pushing forward and constantly needing to be on the go. And with everything that is happening in the world at the moment, it is very clear that this model is just not working, and it's not working anymore, especially. And there has all along also been this massive downgrading and undermining of women. I believe it is because of the power that we possess, and that power is very scary to a lot of people, both men and to women as well, at a certain level. And for thousands of years, we have been suppressed and silenced and pushed aside. And those of us who have dared to speak up, who dare to rise up, who dare to really express ourselves from our womb spaces, from our heart spaces, have very often been punished for that, sometimes in very extreme ways. So it is no wonder that so many of us have been scared to speak up, have been scared to really put ourselves out there, so to speak, and to really step into what I call our sacred feminine power. But at the same time, we just cannot but notice the beautiful awakening, the paradigm shift that is happening on our planet at the moment, where we are realizing en masse that these masculine ways, which are important in many ways, but they simply are not enough anymore. They are not enough on their own. We need balance. We need more harmony between the masculine and the feminine energies, between the masculine and feminine ways of being and doing. And we really need that more compassionate and loving and considerate and inclusive way of leading and being in the world, that realizes and recognizes that we are all one, and that we are all interconnected in many, many intricate ways, not just in terms of human beings on this planet, but in terms of every single living creature, and Mother Earth as a living, breathing being as well.
Many words of wisdom there. Thank you. I really love the way you articulated that this paradigm shift and this beautiful awakening, that there's the recognition that the masculine models alone are not enough. Rather than, saying like, let's throw it all out. It's like, yeah, there is an energetic within each of us, women and men, of the masculine that can focus, can get things done, can, there's certain things, but it's been so wonky and out of balance. So which I pulled some quotes here: inclusiveness, compassionate leadership, and the recognition that we are all one. These are what could be called feminine principles, I suppose, but
Yes.
that those qualities to help balance out this sort of short-sightedness of drive and rationality that doesn't consider the whole but only considers the parts. So thank you for that. Now, part of your work is the healing of core feminine wounds, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. I'd love for you to share with the sisters listening here. And that, I mean, you've already been touching on this, but anything else you would say about the importance of reclaiming our power, and or perhaps the ancient feminine practices and how rooting in the body and rooting in Mother Earth are a part of this healing journey. So if you talk a little bit about how you work that with women and what you're seeing in your field there of awareness.
Sure. So if I start with the 5 core feminine wounds, that's really the foundation of the healing and transformation work that I do with women all around the world. And if I share a little bit about how that actually came about. A few years ago, I became friends with a woman with whom we shared the same kinds of goals, we shared the same kinds of vision, we had the same kinds of ideals and wanted to be working in the same field, and talked about working together and running retreats together, especially for women, to really start to open up into this, these feminine ways of being, open up into mindfulness and so on. And for me, I took that discussion about potential collaboration quite seriously. And I was ready to work with her and create some magic together with her in the future. We both led very busy lives, so we didn't meet very often. And I think it had been a few months before, since we'd last met. And then she invited me over for lunch to her house. So I was really happy to accept the invitation. I went along and we were having a great time just chatting away and talking about all kinds of things. And then suddenly she tells me that she has organized a retreat by herself and did not even tell me about it, did not even ask me if I'd be interested in supporting her or doing it together with her. And in that moment when she told me that, it literally felt like a hole opened up underneath me. And I fell into that hole. I went completely numb and I felt this really, really great shock. And it felt like a great betrayal to me at the time. And I'm not quite sure how I managed to get home from there, because all I wanted to do was just to leave and just go and cry somewhere, because the shock was that deep for me. And the funny thing was that I could not shake that feeling of having been betrayed. I kept on working on myself using the pretty powerful healing methods that I use. I worked with my teachers, I worked with mentors, I paid for sessions to really try and dilute this sense of anger and frustration and this sense of betrayal. And nothing seemed to work. And I was, really starting to get the idea that this is a bit deeper than just what happened during that lunchtime. There must be something underneath all of this. And then, of course, nothing happens by accident. People started sending me articles, or I came across books or works of literature that started to talk about the sister wound. So the experiences of women, going back to the witch hunts, going back to ancient Egypt, where there were massive, large-scale incidents where women were literally hunted down and made to suffer on a great scale. And often women were having to really to give each other in, to tell on each other. And if you think about the witch hunts, for example, in Europe in the Middle Ages, imagine the fear and the terror and the trauma that those torture and the outright killing of women who were thought to be witches, and the fact that they were being given in by their sisters, by their mothers, sometimes by their children. And I started to realize that I was, in fact, carrying that trauma still inside my cells, in my DNA. And we know now that it's scientifically proven as well that we take on energies through our mother lines, through our father lines, that ancestral wounding, as well as the collective wounding from the experiences of women all around the world. And it stays stuck in our bodies until we're able to release it and clear it and heal it. And once I realized that, and I was able to start clearing and healing those sister wounds within myself, then the sense of betrayal and the trauma from this lunch meeting also went away. And that was really the beginning, or the beginning of my work with the 5 core feminine wounds. I started to look more deeply into this wounding. I'd done a lot of shadow work in the past as well, but never concentrating on specifically what I call core feminine wounds. And I started to explore this topic, and I looked into themes and topics that specifically related to women. And I came to realize that it is not just a sister wound that affects, I would say, all women pretty deeply at different levels, depending on our unique life and soul experiences. But we've got the mother wound, we've got the sister wound, we've also got the body wound, we've got the menstrual wound, and finally, we've got the womb wound itself. And all of these wounds are, of course, interrelated and interconnected in some ways. And they manifest in different women in different levels and in various aspects. Again, depending on what we've gone through in our lives and what we've taken on from our ancestors, from our mothers, grandmothers, and so on. And I started to develop a body of work around that, and to develop healing methods and healing practices that were targeted at these different wounds. And now I offer that as part of my core work. And of course, part of the healing of that wounding is also tapping into our innate feminine wisdom, tapping into the amazing healing powers that all of us have within ourselves. So really starting to remember and reclaim the power that we all possess, and remembering how powerful we have also been in the past. It is indeed the power that scares and initially led to the overthrow is the word that's coming to me now, the overthrowing of women in many ways and many levels. Yes, so now I teach women about ancient feminine practices, that a lot of it has to do with the womb awakening work that I do. And I combine those with more modern energy shifting practices as well, in order to support women to really let go of lifetimes of pain and grief related to the wounds, and sometimes beyond as well, and to really learn to love themselves as they are, become rooted in their bodies, rediscover that sacred feminine radiance within ourselves, and remember the power that we all truly possess.
Beautifully said. Thank you for that. And thank you for that vulnerable share of your story. I think it really illustrates something deeply. And I know I personally can relate to it for my own self, really on both sides of it too, on the side of being unreasonably unreasonable. That might not be, that's a judgmental word, but a feeling of like, why is my reaction to this so much bigger than the thing itself? And then on the other side, having done a lot of work, and sometimes now on my path, really needing to do self-care things, and sometimes having responses to me that seem like, whoa, I'm not betraying you. I'm not trying to hurt you at all. I just can't, whatever it is, I can't, show up in the way that you're expecting me to right now in such a way, blah, blah, blah. And it is one of the things that feels like it's rising right now, like these deep, many of us have been on healing paths for so many years, so many modalities, and it's wonderful that we have the modalities we do, but it's like the really old stuff is starting to come up now, the really deep stuff. And so thank you for your work that you do, because it's so needed right now as we cut these things. It's like, where did this come from that I oh, so wow, so beautiful. And it would be so lovely to go deeper with that. And I know I want to keep these within a range of time so that each sister can also get an experience with you as well. So I know you have an experience to share with us. So what I'd like to do now is just turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself and let you share what's arising, what's present for
Sure.
you.
Thank you. Okay, so just take a deep breath, and if it feels safe for you, you can close your eyes. And keep breathing. You can place your left hand over your womb space and the right hand over the left hand if that feels good for you. And as you're breathing, notice how your body is starting to relax. Your muscles are growing heavier. And slowly bring your awareness into your womb space, into this beautiful dark, velvety space deep inside your lower belly. And start breathing in and out through your womb space. And just notice, how is your womb space feeling right now? Just notice the energy inside your womb space. Feel into it. And whatever these energies are, just consciously send some love into your womb space right now. And then imagine that deep inside your womb space, there is a small seed. And as you're sending love into your womb space, the seed starts to grow and it starts to crack open. And this tiny, tender shoot starts to grow out of the seed. And as you're breathing into your womb space and sending love into your womb space, notice how this shoot keeps growing, becoming stronger. And just notice what kind of a flower or a plant it's growing into. And as your plant, your flower grows inside your womb space, imagine the roots of this plant growing downwards, expanding into Mother Earth, burrowing deeper and deeper into Mother Earth's rich soil. And as you're breathing, feel these roots growing thicker and longer until they reach all the way down to the very core of the earth. And at the core of the earth, there is the most beautiful crystal quartz that is pulsating and vibrating with healing energies. And your roots start to entwine around this crystal. And as your roots entwine around the crystal, you can feel the pulsating healing energy from the crystal moving into and through your roots. With every breath you take, the energy from the crystal moves along and across your roots. Feel it moving upwards towards you. And then feel this energy from the crystal enter inside your womb space where your plant or your flower is growing. And just feel the energies from the crystal deep from Mother Earth, cleansing, clearing, bringing healing into your womb space. And then feel how this plant or this flower inside your womb space starts to grow bigger and bigger, expanding upwards, all the way to the great central sun. And feel the energies, the healing, nurturing, nourishing energies of the great central sun starting to move inside your flower, inside your plant. And again, as you're breathing, feel these energies from the great central sun moving downwards into your body, all the way down into your womb space. And now feel the healing energy, the healing pulsation from the sun inside your womb space, swirling around, clearing, cleansing, bringing in those energies that you need right now. Cleansing away any fears, any worries, any doubts. Supporting your plant to grow stronger and stronger. Making your womb space more and more powerful. Feel your womb space, the seat of your feminine power, pulsating and vibrating with these beautiful healing energies from Mother Earth and from the great central sun. With the feminine energies from Mother Earth and with the masculine energies from the great central sun. Feel them mingle in perfect harmony, in perfect balance. And activating your sacred feminine power. And spend a few moments just breathing into your womb space. Feeling those energies. Rooting into those energies. Feeling held, feeling supported, grounded and guided. And when it starts to feel complete for you, and there's absolutely no rush, you can slowly start to bring your awareness to your body, to the room that you're in. Start to listen into the sounds around you. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes a bit. And when it feels good for you, slowly open your eyes.
Thank you. Beautiful. Oh, that was gorgeous. And I had chamomile flowers. Yes, it was lovely. At first I thought it was daisies, and I'm like, no, it's not daisies. It's more lush and nourishing than that, and soothing.
Mm,
Ah, gorgeous.
beautiful.
Mm. So, Emmy, for those women who would love to connect with you further, how can they get in touch with you? How can they find you?
Sure. So I have a Facebook page.
Mhm.
The Feminine Revered is the name of it.
Mm.
And my website is www.femininerevered.com.
Mm.
I also have a free ebook on my website about the 5 core feminine wounds. So if anybody's interested in finding out more, they can download the ebook through my website.
Thank you. That was very beautiful, and I truly appreciate your gentle presence and the grounded way in which you bring us to this soft space. And it feels very healing to me, and I know it will be for the many sisters who join us. So thank you.
Thank you.
And sisters, thank you for being here, for being willing to hold space for yourself and to be present with all of us at this crucial time on the planet where we are called to return, to gather, to come together, even if it means virtually, in order to really awaken and honor our sacred feminine energies. So please be sure to stick with us for the remaining interviews and communicate in the Facebook group. Share your experiences. What was that meditation like for you? Do you have any questions for Emmy? You can ask there, and we would love to see you there. So with that, I'm going to sign off for now and wishing you all many blessings until our next meeting. Much love for now. Bye.